All right. Looks like we're almost at the top of the hour. Just gonna wait a minute and wait for everyone else to join, and then we can get started. All right, looks like we're a minute after. So while everyone is still coming in, I'm just going to start with a few housekeeping things. If you've been to our webinars before, you might think this one's a little bit different. We're using Teams webinar, so we can have a bit more functions. So with that, the recording will be distributed to everyone who registered. And I think it's automatic, but we'll still send out a follow-up email with the deck as well. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or wait until the end. We'll be answering questions then. Um, and with that, I can just hand it over to Frank Eric.
Thank you, Kate. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Frank Eric, like Kate mentioned, and I'm happy to present the efficient crematorium research that we did. So today's presentation, we will cover the project objectives. We'll go through the literature review that we did, survey tool, and crematorium screening, the site visit and OEM interviews. We'll conclude with barriers, recommendation, and our overall conclusion from the project. So in the literature review, we explored the historical evolution of crematoriums with a particular focus on flame-based cremation that uses natural gas. And our goal was to investigate various cremation methodologies, regulatory frameworks, and innovative solutions that contribute to energy efficient cremation. In the technological landscape, we examined the current state of crematorium technologies, specifically focusing on the primary and secondary chambers, the control panels, loading doors, and the auxiliary spaces. And this analysis highlights the technological adaptations in response to the historical research in cremation practices. We identified some potential barriers to adoption of energy efficient cremation technologies, and these barriers included things like cost considerations to the need for technical expertise. As part of the research, we engaged directly with some industry experts, and these, which included site visits to capture valuable data on industry commonalities, the barriers faced at each facility, and we got feedback from the operators. We also leveraged input from OEMs to highlight specific design features that contribute to energy efficiency. And at the end, from this research, from the survey results and interaction, we derived actionable recommendations that aimed at guiding the evolution of cremation technologies in California. So the literature review, covered these 4 points: the crematorium design, technological advancement, and the barriers, the adoption barriers identified from the literature review. So let's start with what a crematory is. It is essentially a facility that is designed for the controlled cremation of humans and animals remains. While cremation has a rich historical significance, the modern concept of crematorium as we know it today began to emerge in the 19th century. And then when it comes to the design of crematoriums, the focus of this research, as stated before, was on flame-based cremation that use natural gas. And these facilities are designed to accommodate both humans and animals remains with little distinction between the two. And in terms of equipment, the main components include the primary chamber, secondary chamber, the control panel for monitoring the process, a loading door for placing the remains into the chamber, and a cooling tray to safely collect the ashes after cremation. And crematoriums often include building support spaces like memorial areas, which provide a peaceful environment for families to hold services and ceremonies. Also, many crematoriums offer funeral spaces that facilitates viewings, religious ceremonies, and gatherings of loved ones. Here in California, crematoriums are governed by the California Health and Safety Code, specifically the HSC 7117. And some of the key provisions include the requirement for individual cremations, unless multiple cremations are authorized in writing. And also, no casket is required for cremation, but a leak-resistant container must be used. Cremation must also adhere to CARB requirements. CARB stands for the California Air Resource Board, which includes strict emission reporting obligations to ensure compliance with air quality standards. Okay. The late 19th century, as stated before, saw the significant rise in cremation, particularly in Europe and North America. And today, there's a strong focus of developing energy efficient and sustainable cremation technologies to further improve the cremation process. There are several measures that can be taken to improve the efficiency of crematoriums. And these include the thermal energy recovery, advanced combustion systems, high efficiency burners, energy management system, and insulated chambers. In the literature review, we identified several barriers to adoption of advanced crematorium technologies. And this included the high cost of upgrading equipment, a lack of awareness among operators about the latest technologies, resistance to change, and a shortage of technical expertise to manage and maintain new systems. Now we'll take a look at the survey tool and crematorium and the crematorium screening. So we developed a comprehensive questionnaire, and the survey was designed with in-depth questions to gather detailed insights during our site visits and interviews with the crematorium professionals. However, identifying willing participants for this study was a challenge. So our initial approach involved cold calls to crematoriums, but these efforts yielded limited success. Additionally, we tried reaching out directly to subject matter experts through LinkedIn, but the response rate was also inadequate. And to overcome these challenges, we shifted to a more hands-on approach. We personally visited crematoriums to explain our program and secure their participation in our survey. And this direct engagement proved to be the most effective method in establishing connections with their professionals. The breakthrough in our data collection came with this direct engagement, and by visiting the crematoriums in person, we were able to establish meaningful connections with professionals, which were crucial for the site visit component of our project. And this experience highlighted the importance of personalized outreach and overcoming the initial hesitancy and corporate approval barriers through persistent and direct efforts was key to the success of our data collection process. So in the site visit and OEM interviews. So moving on to the site visits data section, I'll provide an overview of the participants and the challenges we faced during the data collection process. Our primary goal was to gather insight for the manufacturers and operators within the crematorium industry, and we aim to represent diverse organizations that focused specifically on cremation technologies. The data we collected primarily came from the crematoriums located in Northern California. When we look at the participation summary, the results were quite limited. Out of the 5 OEMs that we aim to interview, only one agreed to participate. Also, of the 61 crematoriums that we contacted, only 7 responded, giving us a response rate of 11%. We aggregated the additional data from 4 gas manufacturers, equipment manufacturers, to supplement the limited insight from the OEMs. And this aggregation was done, was essentially looking at the brochures they presented on their websites. And this was necessary to provide a more comprehensive understanding of the industry, even though it wasn't as detailed as we had initially hoped. And one of the key challenges we faced was the reluctance of other OEMs to participate. Despite our efforts, only one OEM responded, which posed a significant challenge in gaining deeper insights into the industry. And the reasons behind this lack of participation from the other OEMs remain unclear. And it is possible that factors such as confidentiality concerns, competition, or resource constraints played a role, but these were not explicitly communicated to us. And here in this table, it shows the response rate tabulated. Essentially, like stated before, we reached out to 13 OEMs, but only one sent a response. And it's noteworthy that the single OEM that provided the response does not manufacture a natural gas compatible system, and the data was not included in our summary. And of the 61 crematories that we reached out to, only 7 provided a response for a response rate of 11%. Now, this table presents the most common responses from various crematory operators regarding their interest in energy efficiency solutions, equipment usage and barrier to adopting energy efficient technologies. And the key takeaway includes that 100% of the respondents are interested in energy efficiency solutions, yet 85% have not implemented any initiatives. And cost and compliance are the primary considerations for the equipment selections, and cost is cited as the most significant barrier to adopting EE technologies. This table contains survey data on options driving market adoption of EE technologies in crematorium operations. And the scale was presented on, it was a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being not helpful and 5 being extremely helpful. And the uniformly high rating for energy efficiency market adoption strategies indicate that a strong consensus among the operators regarding the potential impact of these factors on promoting the adoption of energy efficient technologies in crematoriums. this last table and is used to complement these findings. And the raw survey data on the barriers perceived at each location sheds a light on factors that need attention to facilitate the adoption of energy efficiency technologies. So essentially, as we see the uh, costs, the integration complexity, and technical performance emerged as having high ratings. Looking into the commitment shown by in the environment commitment, crematoriums operators are dedicated to environmental responsibility and waste management. They often collaborate with regulatory bodies and industry associations to adhere to environmental standards. As seen on here on the right side of the screen, it's a direct quote from one of the crematory operators. Uh, they stated that they are dedicated to environmental responsibilities. Partnering with the EQMD ensures emission control measures, reflecting their commitment to sustainable and consensus crematorium operations. So our research also highlighted several specific design aspects that manufacturers have developed to enhance energy efficiency in crematoriums. And these features include advanced burner technologies, efficient insulation, and heat recovery systems. And these technologies are instrumental in reducing energy consumption during the cremation process. However, it is important to note that these particular energy efficiency features were not observed in the crematoriums that we visited. So this discrepancy between what manufacturers claim and what is implemented in the field is noteworthy. And in addition to these findings, manufacturers have also been integrating advanced monitoring and data analytic capabilities into their systems. And as depicted on here in this figure, these monitoring systems allow for real-time energy usage and efficiency tracking. This provides crematory operators with valuable insights that can be used to optimize the cremation process. And one of the most innovative aspects of this monitoring system is their ability to adjust dynamically based on specific parameters of the deceased, such as gender and weight. And this feature enables more precise control and regulation of energy consumption during the cremation process, which contributes to the overall efficiency. Recommendation. So based on our studies, we've identified several key recommendations to enhance the adaptation of energy efficient practices across the crematory industry. First, recommended educational initiatives. This involves implementing comprehensive educational programs that target crematorium operators, staff, and industry stakeholders. And these programs should focus on raising awareness about the long-term cost-saving benefits of EE technologies and offering trainings on operation and maintenance and highlighting the positive environmental impact of adopting these practices. Next, we propose financial incentives and rebate programs, and these are critical to mitigate the initial costs associated with adopting or upgrading energy efficient cremation equipment. And to further support this, technical support and training is essential. We need to address any potential gaps in technical expertise by providing ongoing support and specialized training programs. We also recommend establishing certification and quality assurance programs, and these will help verify the performance and compliance of energy efficient cremation equipment, which will ensure that the technologies meet high energy efficiency standards and the environmental stability. And to encourage widespread adoption, we suggest developing market adoption strategies. Working closely with industry associations, we can create marketing materials and campaigns that showcase success stories of crematoriums embracing energy efficient practices. And finally, we emphasize the need for customized solutions, recognizing that crematorium's unique operational and financial challenges. We propose tailoring energy efficient solutions to meet their specific needs. And by fostering collaborations between the program administrator and crematoriums, we can develop personalized strategies that align with their operational considerations and budget constraints. These recommendations are designed to create a holistic framework for promoting energy efficient practices within the cremation in California. In conclusion, this study sheds a light in California's cremation industry, exploring its history, technology, and environmental aspects. We identified barriers to adopting energy efficient technologies and proposed recommendations to overcome these challenges. And with continued efforts and collaboration, the cremation industry can evolve to be more energy efficient and environmentally friendly. And thank you for your time. And before we move on to questions, there is a parallel program, Electric Emerging Technologies program called CalNext. And their vision is to identify emerging electric technologies across 6 priority areas, these areas below, and bringing them to the utilities energy efficiency program portfolio. And to learn more and sign up for their email list, please visit calnext.com. And I'm happy to answer any questions now.
And just to add to that, Frank, Eric, is on this page, if you're interested, go to the last slide. If you're interested in more about the GET program, you can go to either the LinkedIn or our gas tech page as well, to either submit ideas or look at our future. Feel free to ask Frank, Eric, any questions.
Kate, are they able to unmute? I'm not sure. Because I see the...
If anyone has questions, I guess you can raise your hand if you, you can message it in the chat or you can raise your hand and I can unmute you. Frank, Eric, can you see that question in the chat?
Oh yeah. How much do crematoriums cost to build? That's a good question. Thanks for the question, Idan. It varies, right? It varies based on the requirements of each crematory or each crematorium. Like some of the crematories that we visited, we didn't get into their cost of build of their facilities, but I could sense that there were some crematories that were very little, like smaller than, I would say, a church, and then there were other ones that were very big. And I'm sure like the bigger ones would cost more, as they probably would want to implement a lot more, a lot of the equipment. But I did not get into the cost of the crematoriums.
Frank
But if
Eric,
you that okay, yes, Stephen.
I know our focus wasn't the electric project, but you did
Mhm.
actually get more information on the electric project relative to energy efficiency opportunities than the other ones you surveyed. Do you want to just sort of conceptually discuss those? I know you had some of them in your presentation, but just sort of indicate where I'll say that industry is versus the balance of the industry.
Yeah, so a lot of during the research, a lot of the companies that I reached out to, most of them um, design electric cremators, electric equipments, and most of them were actually located in Europe. A lot stated that they discontinued the design of the natural gas-based equipment. And to get back to Eden's questions about how much do crematoriums cost, I know that the cost of cremation here in California can run up to $10,000 or more.
Thank you, Frank Eric. Can you see the question in the chat? We have another one. What's the level of energy savings potentials from the measures discussed, site and market level?
Energy savings potential. I would say that based on, I think each site is the savings is site specific depending on, of course, the size of the facility. Um, I would say that the potential is there's a big potential because a lot of these facilities are interested, but they are not sure on. They are interested in energy efficiency equipment. They are unsure about how to tap into that space. And that's what I would say about that.
Is the question about the level of savings, was that fully answered?
Like, and I stated before, a lot of the measures seen in the literature review were not particularly observed at the different facilities. So I think that there's a big potential. What do you think crematoriums are implementing the measures from the literature reviews? I would say perhaps it's because the industry, it's a niche industry, and I think that facilities are not open about sharing the different the different strategies, and or maybe they are not, like the different facilities are not open to the different different ideas, and perhaps they are I don't know if scared is the term. They don't want to, may not be want to get canceled, or it's just the fact that they are, it's a very tight space, and they are not not a lot of information is shared, I would say. And they will need to have people within their teams that are actively looking or reading at literature to implementing these strategies. And of course, high costs also play a part into these.
Other questions for Frank Eric? Frank Eric, I appreciate your your input and presentation of this study.
Thank you, and thank you everyone, and thanks for attending.
Thank you all for attending.